there, STR Kickstarter folks. I am super excited to bring you today Tyler Coon, who is the owner of Savvy STR Agents based out of the North Carolina, Asheville-esque market. And I'm going to let him introduce himself like I have for all the other hosts. But welcome, Tyler.
Hey, how are you?
Doing very, very well. So as I was thinking about, inviting speakers on this, I remember that at the end of the year, you celebrated, what was it, $50 million or something? You were like, well, we didn't quite hit, and I forgot what the number was. And I was like, yeah, you didn't quite hit that, but I think $50 million of short-term rental sales is worth
50
celebrating.
million was good. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't beat myself up too much for that number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell the audience, who you are, what you do, and why we're talking today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you said, my name is Tyler Coon and I'm the founder of Savvy STR Agents. And in 2019, at the time I had a business partner in real estate, and we had a normal real estate team. We had buyers agents and listing agents, we had assistants and transaction coordinators, the whole nine yards. And I started selling short-term rentals, and I walked into his office one day and I said, we need to fire everyone. We need to start from scratch, and we need to only do short-term rentals. And he looked at me and he's like, you're crazy. That's never going to work. Like, it's such a small, tiny subset of, and even a subset of the investor market, right? And it's never going to work. And I said, I feel so good about this that I'm going to quit from what I've built with you, and I'm going to go restart. I'm going to press the restart button, start from zero again, and work on short-term rentals. And fast forward to today, and last year here in Asheville, I did 50 million in sales. Obviously, I had some help there. I have assistants, again, transaction coordinators, things like that. But it is all personal sales. I don't hand my clients off to another agent. We work as a team, and I walk every single client I have all the way to the closing. So that's where we are today. And what the future looks like is agents across the country that really live in integrity like we do. If you look online, most times you'll see from my clients that we don't walk away after the day of closing, that we're there holding their hand, sometimes for years up until they do find something. I have a client, Carter, who just closed on something maybe a month ago. Him and I have been working together to find something for like 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So, and not only that, he closed about a month ago, and I just sent one of my teammates to go check on his house today after he asked us to, after we had these torrential downpours. And
Hmm.
so we're the team that doesn't disappear on you. And that just means really living in integrity, backing up the investments that you sell with facts and data and numbers, and truly not selling anything that you wouldn't buy yourself. Jesus. Now I've been totally frightened by some smashing in my office.
Oh boy.
And anyway, so what does the future look like? We're looking for agents across the country, and we're partnering with agents across the country to bring them on the team to sell short-term rentals and only rentals that they would buy. So a lot of times our agents are just like Stephanie Figueros, who owns STR Nation in Southern California.
Yep.
She runs a short-term rental conference. She manages properties all over the country. Her and her partner own short-term rentals all over the country. So these are the type of agents you can expect to work with when you work with a savvy agent. So that's what we're looking to build in the future, and we're taking it slowly. We don't want to grow too fast for ourselves.
Good. That's good. So my curiosity right now is taking me all the way back into 2019. What did you see in 2019 that made you say, you know what? Let's just pack up this other shop and let's focus on this right here.
For me, really, what it was working with investors. You know, I had always thought before that, I just did regular real estate transactions, right? First time home buyers, people
Mm,
moving to and from the area. And when I started working with some investors, I guess my thought at the time, and I think what most consumers think of real estate agents that work with investors, is that we work with these big time investors, maybe like BlackRock or people
mhm,
on Wall
mhm.
Street, or people that have millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you and I know that now that's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Most times it's people like my client Ramel who it got his second investment property. The guy works 24/7. He has a family, a wife, and two kids. He works really hard. And they are putting everything on the line to
Mm-hmm.
invest in their futures. They're risking everything and they're working so hard to make it happen. And seeing that and being able to be a part of that wealth creation in real estate was incredible. I'm the type of person that, as I make money, I spend it. I'm not a good saver. I've never been a good saver. It doesn't make me a great investor. But I really believe in real estate at the end of the day. Our first primary home that we bought,
Mm-hmm.
we had no money. I mean, we put like 3% down and it was everything we had. It was $325,000 house in Asheville. And we sold that a year and a half later for 440. And I was able to walk away. And for the first time, we had a net worth of over $100,000.
Wow.
I had never saved nearly that much money before. And so we took that and then we were able to buy another primary and invest in real estate.
Mm,
And then we took that first investment property, we bought that for like 235. We
mm,
flipped that for 440. And we started making money faster than we could even spend it, and it
mhm,
was all through this investment vehicle of real estate. And it just really taught me that real estate is the best investment you can make. It's a bank
mhm,
account that you can't touch and you can't spend, and it forces you to save. And I believe that it's the best way to get wealthy. And I've used it as a vehicle to make myself and my family
mhm.
decently wealthy, at least move us from paycheck to paycheck to, hey, we wouldn't go broke if we needed a
It,
few months off today,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, so seeing that, that's what made me really want to work in short-term rentals.
That's a really good point you just made there. The bank account that you can't touch and you can't spend. That's it's a real thing because you have the asset basically growing, at least in a good market at least, right? That you have, I mean, just equity building sometimes without any input from you at all. And then you can either sell or do a cash out refinance, or get a HELOC or something and pull that equity and use that into something else while you're still paying down that one house.
Yeah.
Because like some people are wonder, like, have they missed the short-term rental boat? Some people say, well, it's no longer 2017, it's no longer 2019. Well, lucky you that you began back in name the year, right? What do you say to people who think that they may have missed the short-term rental boat, or that things have changed or whatever? How do you say to them right now?
People have been saying that since the beginning of 2023. And it all started when people started saying, you'll never have another year like 2021. The
Mm-hmm.
numbers are way down. The numbers were skewed. Too many people were traveling, blah, 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 blah. Well, the people that I know that had the best return on investments bought in 2023. And that's because that's the most recent. And I think still this year we're going to see people that have the best return on investments. And what people that bought last year are going to say about the people that buy this year is, well, lucky you, I bought at 8% interest and you get to buy at 5. That's what they're going to say. It's just like, from the beginning of COVID, everybody kept saying the economy is going to crash. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything's going to crash and everything's going to die and we're all going to burn in flames. And people have been saying that for so many years now. I remember my business partner at the time, back when, I still had the residential real estate team, the day that COVID really got like, I mean, it was like, oh my God, this is a serious thing. I remember I was at a closing and he called me and he's like, we had just rented an office at this point, like
Mm.
our very first office. We bought all this office furniture and he's like, you got it. We got to shut it down. We got to return everything and cancel our lease. And I'm like, everything's going to be fine. Just relax. Let's see how it goes. And what did it turn out to be? It was like one of the best years in economic
For
history
real estate,
because
yeah.
all people had to do was sit at home and buy stuff all day long. So I think there's always goodness around the corner. One thing that I will say to people that are a little bit scared of investing in real estate, or they think they missed the boat or whatever it is, the number of units sold, the number of properties or houses sold as of a month or two ago, we were at the same point that we were at right in the middle of 2008. 4
Mm,
million homes sold average. If you took 1 month and multiplied it over a year, right?
okay.
We were
Mm-hmm.
at the same number of homes sold as the bottom of 2008.
Mm.
To me, I didn't feel like we were in this massive recession,
Crash.
right?
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
we were. That's where we were at. And the
Mm,
number of home sales a couple of months ago, we were right at the very bottom of the last few decades, right?
mm,
Equal with it. And so if that was the worst and I still felt really, really good, and
mm,
now things are going to start going back up because interest rates are coming down, I think
mm,
it's a great time to be in the market. And I don't just say that. I bought something last year. We bought in February of last year, and we did exactly what we're telling our clients to do, which is buy better properties, bigger properties. So we
mm,
bought for 850,000. We bought a big, massive property, and that property will do 250,000 in year one.
mm.
And it's about 100% cash on cash return.
Wow. Um, so you mentioned that now you do have your own short-term rentals, right?
Hmm.
Do you also manage them yourself, or you have a property management company?
So we used to have a property management
Oh,
company.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I sold that company. I
Really?
hate property management. I don't even like managing my own properties, but I do because I also don't believe in paying property managers. Um, so
That's a reason to sell a property management company?
yeah, yeah, I know. I'm so conflicted inside on that. I know. I get in fights about it online and Facebook groups and stuff all the time. Um, whatever. But yeah, what we did, especially in 2023, I'm the type of entrepreneur that wants to do everything. I want to sell the house, and I want to manage the property, and I want to design the property, and I'm going to hire maintenance and construction crews and build the property and maintain the property. And what I learned was that we were doing 20 things and we were doing them poorly.
Totally.
And so we got back to doing our one thing that I do really well, and now I can firmly say like we killed it in 2023. 2022, I felt like what we did was we sold a lot of property and we didn't do a good job with our clients after the sale. And so we
Mm,
got really, really good at making sure we didn't lose touch with our clients and that we were there for them after the sale. And
mm.
it clearly paid off. I mean, I have clients that are doing $30,000 a month from one rental. And that's as much as they're making in their full-time job as a doctor, you know?
Now the now the peanut gallery wants to know where these properties are that they're making $30,000 a month. But I'll leave that up to you if you want to share or not. They can come
You're
find
gonna book a call. Yeah, it's all on my private calls.
you. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So in case there are any realtors watching, because I know that there are a few realtors that entered the group. How what would you attribute your growth? Like, were you always doing $50 million a year?
No,
In
no, no, no.
you never know, right? Like, what was your trajectory from, what, I think we should start doing short-term rentals, to this is 2019 to 2023. So it's not even that long. So what would you say was responsible, or was pivotal, should I say, to your achieving that amount of growth in that time?
I think for us, it was our cheerleaders. It's the supporters that we've had, and what has created that overwhelming amount of support that sometimes literally chokes me up. I mean, sometimes I don't know what to think about all the support that we have, you know. I just can't believe it. Sometimes I feel like it's just luck or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think what it's really about is that every day when we talk about trying to find investment properties for our clients, it's never let's try to sell as many houses as possible. It's we wake up and we get on the MLS and we start searching for properties. We start searching for what is going to be the best property ever. And then who do we have that wants to buy it?
Yeah.
It's never the other way around. And so we've built this system now where I have more people that want to buy property than I have properties to sell. I've got like 40 or
Yeah.
50 people on our VIP list that are just waiting to sell something. And if I didn't live in integrity every day, we could probably pitch all these people a bunch of crap and they would buy it. But
Mm-hmm.
what would happen after that? They would all go online and they wouldn't be there supporting us or
Yeah.
being our biggest cheerleaders. They'd be trying to tear us down. And I'm not going to say I've never made a mistake or that we never got anything wrong. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have a crystal ball, right? I'm not a wizard. But what we do is we live by a set of morals for our clients that are just rock steady. And I think that comes through to people so
Mm-hmm.
that even when we do make a mistake or we trip up, we had a client a couple of months ago. It was the only time this ever happened, thankfully, and we got her out of it before closing. But we found out one day before closing that the property she was going to buy could not be a short-term rental.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that was bad. That's like
Yeah.
I'm nightmares about that. Like literally, I wake up in night terrors sometimes about that exact thing happening. And thankfully, our attorney found this, and it was a rare exception. Even my attorney
Mhm.
said, "There's no way you would have seen this." And it was mislabeled by the listing agent, which we're supposed to be able to trust that. We got that client back all her deposits, all her money. I talked with her people that she paid a furniture design deposit to. We got that
Mhm.
deposit paid back.
Okay.
And even though we didn't end up working together, I still felt good about how that ended because we saved that from being a potentially really bad situation
Yeah.
to ending up like, okay, at least,
Mhm.
there, it would have been better if we figured this out earlier, but at least we didn't get all the way to the end. So that's what we can attribute, our success to. That's what I attribute our success to, is just really living by that set of morals. And I think people feel that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if let's say, for example, someone reached out to you to, to say, "Hey, Tyler, you know what? I'm thinking of getting a short-term rental. I've never done this before. What would be your initial sort of guidelines to say, okay, this is how you get started, even while working with us? Like, what would you tell someone who's brand new, who's just thinking about short-term rentals, is convinced that they want to go in short-term rentals, but is just kind of considering taking that next step forward?
Yeah. It's interesting. I had a guy that booked a call on my calendar this morning to actually talk about he wanted to do arbitrage, which was rare for me because I sell houses. So I don't do
Long
arbitrage.
conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But at first I was like, why am I on this call? I'm so busy. I just got back from vacation. And sometimes your brain, like you can't help from going there in the first minute or two. And instead, what I did was I took 30 minutes out, which is my standard time that I have a call for. And I helped the guy like figure out what does he want to do? What does he need to do? And he's talking about he only has 10 or $15,000 to do anything with, and he's gonna he wants to do arbitrage because he's convinced that that's what he's gonna cash flow. That's what's gonna add more cash flow. And I told him like brutally honestly, like I see people going broke from arbitrage. We see people like that company, I forget what it was, but they
Wait,
went
Alfred.
bankrupt the other day. They
Yeah.
were a big arbitrage company. So it just really scares me, and that's my opinion. I also told him I know people that are doing it successfully, so I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying that's my opinion about it. And then he said, well, what would you do? And I said, honestly, if you're telling me that the problem you're having is you can't save up enough money to invest in real estate, the first thing you have to do is buy a primary residence. That's what you've got to do. Today, you're renting and you're talking about you want to start investing in things and you have 10 or $15,000. You're not ready yet. You have to buy a primary residence first so you can feel really comfortable. And so you can start building that equity so you have a nest egg, and you're doing debt pay down, you have tax benefits, you're building up appreciation, building up equity and appreciation. And then I told him, I said, and if right now you're working something that you can't put any money in a savings account and save up for a down payment, then you need to find another job. You need to start looking for what can you do that's actually going to make you more wealthy. I mean, if it's taking night classes and getting your real estate license or your insurance license or your mortgage license and going to apprentice under someone at night while you work your day job, you're going to have to do something that gets you to being able to save multiple five figures. That's the first step. It's really hard to save with a job six figures. You get to six figures through your primary residence and maybe your first real estate deal. So that
Mhm.
would be my advice is do you figure out where you are. You
Mhm.
know, if you're in low five figure savings, then you're probably not ready just yet.
Mhm.
You know, one thing I told him, I said, if you arbitrage right now and you sign a lease and you have to pay 5,000 in deposits for that, you only have 10,000 for furniture. Right now, what you're competing with is you're competing with people that are paying $100,000 to design super properties,
Mm.
sometimes 200. I
Mm.
had a client pay $300,000 to design a super property last year, which typically we wouldn't recommend. And I do think that he over designed it. But that's the person that's making $30,000 a month as well. So what can I say against that? You know, um, I don't know that I'm that ballsy to spend $300,000 in one property, but they were. So, but I guess that's anesthesiologist for you, right? They just have more money than God.
Oh, now you're talking. Now you're speaking my language. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. So anyways, yeah, I would figure out where you are and just like that's one thing I told this guy this morning was like, don't feel like you're missing out yet. Like, use that fear of missing out to propel you to where you need to be. Not, you can't skip step one and two to get to three and four. You've got to ride this roller coaster, and you can do it fast.
Mhm.
We only bought our first primary home in 2019. It's
Oh
just
wow.
barely 2024 right now.
Mhm.
And now and I don't say this to like boast or have an ego, but I want to give people a real sense of what they can actually do. You know, now we have a seven-figure net worth.
Mm.
And it still amazes me sometimes when
You're
I
like,
look at
"Who-
that and I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, yeah, who did that?
what?"
You know, and yes, we did live through some really lucky times as well. But like if you're not playing the game, you won't ever live through lucky times.
Mm.
So I'm going to keep going even when it's not lucky times. And then when it is lucky times, that's when we'll really take advantage. But I think that would be my main advice. I know it was a long winded answer.
No, no, listen, I like it when I ask these questions because I seem to that seems to be where the gems come out from, right? Because I mean, I could have sat here and just asked you about the realtor stuff, right? But I would have hit out on those hidden gems because part of the conversation that we're having here is to basically allow people hear from different people because when you hear from just one person, you think that that's gospel, right? But by the time you hear it from Tyler and you hear from Rachel, then you hear from Amanda, and then they hear from all these other people, you will ultimately find which one resonates with you, or at least which one speaks to your state in life.
Yes.
So on one hand, one person may be saying, oh yeah, you know what, buy this property, furnish it with that, the $300,000 type of furnishing. And then over here, you're like, see what you're doing furnishing for $300,000. And then people can be like, okay, this is where I am. I can basically find myself in the story. But I'm really glad that you shared that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
so what markets do you currently have tentacles in right now? Like which markets would you say like I have these markets down pat?
Yeah. So personally, I am here in Asheville, North Carolina, and then I also cover the high country of North Carolina, which is like
Okay.
Boone,
Oh,
Blowing
yeah.
Rock, Banner Elk. Then we've also recently expanded to the coast of North Carolina, so up in the
Okay.
Outer Banks, and then south on the North and South Carolina border, which is like Oak Island to
Okay.
Holden Beach. Really beautiful area down there. You can actually get oceanfront houses for around $1 million, which is still really rare left over in the US to be able to find that. Um, and we have agents in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. We are in Greenville, South Carolina this year. That's brand new for us. We're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina with
Okay.
Rivers Ford. He's an awesome agent out there that owns a great property management company. Really, really smart guy. He owns a short-term rental fund that actually just took money from Goldman Sachs.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
super, super smart dude that I'm learning a lot from. Really excited to be partnered with him. We're in Southern California with Stephanie Figueros as well.
Okay.
Shane O'Donnelly covers Kentucky for us, so the Bourbon Trail and the Red River
Mhm,
Gorge
mhm,
area.
mhm.
Kentucky is particularly difficult,
Okay.
in terms of permitting and things like that. And
Experience.
one thing that I
Yeah.
absolutely love about Shane is that he just lives in integrity. He's the exact right person that we want to be partnered with because he would not do anything to risk somebody else's money. I mean, it's what wakes him up at night, right? And you can feel that from the minute that you talk to him. He's just such a stand-up dude. Um, who else? Am I forgetting anyone? Everybody will kill me if I forget someone.
Don't forget the
Oh,
American.
well, yes. We've just recently signed and gotten into business with Tebow, who is in southern Florida, South Florida.
Okay. Okay.
So all the way West Palm Beach,
Right.
Miami, Palm Beach, that
Okay.
whole area down there. Another really, really smart dude that owns short-term rentals all over the place. He's got a big portfolio. Really smart guy. Yeah, really smart guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, so yeah, no, I'm really glad that have had that we were able to have this conversation because it's funny. I think it was Bill that I was talking with, and I said, in on some Facebook groups that you get on, people are like, oh, this da, and then you get on some groups and you're like, but isn't it the same country that we're in right now? Like, why are some people being so negative about this, and why are some thriving? What makes the difference? And that's
Yeah.
kind of what inspired all of this, because I'm like, some people are still thriving. How do I get them on to share what it is that's making them thrive, like
Yeah.
how they're actually thriving?
Well, I'll tell you what my theory is behind that. I believe, and this is what I tell all my clients. I tell them, don't buy a house that you don't love. Fall absolutely in love with your property. Feel as if you are going to have the most success ever. Because what it's all about nowadays is taking that risk, jumping in, and never saying, I'm too scared to invest in this property because I just don't know if it'll do well. If you
Mm,
don't know it'll do well, you will not do well. It's
don't do it.
all about taking that leap of faith. And the reason why having confidence in your property is because then when it becomes time to make the decisions that need to be made to turn that property into something super successful, you need to feel that confidence and go, you know what? I'm going to take that more expensive option. I'm going to get those luxury seats for the movie theater. I'm going to upgrade the deck. Like I'm going to spend $40,000 and upgrade the deck. Every time I've seen someone fail in Western North Carolina, it's because they called me and a year later they said, I know that we talked about upfront doing all these upgrades, but we decided to just let it see how it would do first. And I said, but that's not what I told you to do up front. I said, if you want to do these numbers, you have to make these edits to the property.
Yeah.
And what I always tell my clients is if you're not willing to do those things, then do not buy the property.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten really good at that too, just making sure we're well qualifying our clients and that they know what it's going to take up front before they buy a property. But that is truly the difference between the people that are the most successful.
Yeah.
Just take that $300,000 story, for instance. They invested so much money, way more than anyone else I've ever seen. And this 300, I'm not saying nobody's ever spent 300,000 before, but they spent 300,000 and they didn't update the house. They didn't like make material improvements to the house. This was all design and amenities geared towards Airbnb. So
Mm,
it's not like they added more square footage or they added value to a residential property that increases the value. value, it was all towards Airbnb stuff, movie theaters and game rooms and great furniture and all this stuff. What a risk to take. How confident they must be
Mhm.
to spend that much money. And now it's the best property I've ever sold, doing $30,000 a month. I mean, that is so much freaking money. Like if their mortgage is 6,000, how quickly are they going to get paid back that 300,000? I mean, it's going to be so
Do you
fast.
happen to share any of those pictures? Because I feel like in my head, there like a few pictures are just like circling my head, and I'm like, could it be that one? Could it be that one?
I
I mean,
think it is that one that
you
you're thinking about.
obviously
Yeah.
can't say it out loud, but I'm just picturing like, wow, like, okay, that's a bold move. That is a bold
It's
move, but clearly
super bold.
in
Yeah.
10 months, the $300,000 is back.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, that
Also,
literally, yeah, in
yeah,
10 months payback, now they're just paying their closing costs, their down payment. I mean, what is it? It's probably going to land like 50% cash on cash return on investing $300,000. That's crazy. That's crazy. And
okay.
I had never seen that before. I'm not saying you have to do this with every property.
No, that
I
is
know
no
if Bill
hint.
watches this, he's going to rake me over the coals because he's
Yes,
going to say, you don't need to spend that much money on a super property.
he
I'm
absolutely
not
talked about that
recommending
in his
anybody
own
do
too.
that. I'm just saying that in this instance, for them, it worked out. The point is that you have to love your property and you have to be 100% confident and just go, 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 go. Like there can't be any doubts in your mind. That's when they fail. And it's
Yeah.
literally, I can cut a line in
Yes.
between the people that have not done well and the people that have done extremely well. It's unconfident to confident.
Yeah.
That's what it is. 100%.
That is such a wild point that you just made, because usually when you're going into buying the property, you are very confident. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'll do this. And after a while, like when you're in it, you're like, you know what? I think that couch will be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like when you walked in, you hit at the couch, but then now it's like, well, let's just manage that couch for right now, or let's just manage the wall for right now. It's a really good point that you make there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Now, in terms of so now are you still self? Oh yeah, you said you are self-managing right now. Do you have
Oh
any
yeah.
operations operations tips that you will give to either new or existing hosts?
Um,
Particularly for maxing out revenue, because it sounds like your properties tend to do pretty well in terms of revenue.
One thing that I learned this year was just outsource to the masters, right? And so
Mm.
the best choice that I made this year was outsourcing my pricing, my revenue management. I outsourced that to Stephen Eagles.
Illegal. I try
I
to
did
get
a
him on.
class with
Yeah.
him recently on revenue management. I'm still getting texts and calls every day to get access to that class. That guy is a freaking certified genius.
Yeah.
It's really hard to watch the class actually because it's like hours and hours of math and length of stay discounts and all this stuff that I don't like. And he is just so smart at it. And it's the best decision I made this year. He took my latest property from 100,000 a year to 250, literally with just better pricing, discounts, length of stays. He 2.5 times the revenue with that one change. And that property at 850 doing 100,000 a year would already have done okay, but doing
Mm-hmm.
250, I mean, that's like it'll be 100% cash on cash return. It's crazy. So outsource to the people that are really good at what they do. Um, and then operations wise, if you're scaling a property management company or a co-hosting company, the number one mistake that I made was that I took on every client that I could. And we scaled it to
Mm.
50 properties in 2 years. And everybody talks about like, oh my God, that's amazing. How did you do that? I want to do the same thing. Well, we did it because we never said no to anybody. And what I ended up with was properties that were 2.5 hours away from each other. We had 40 different cleaners. It was impossible to manage. The maintenance was a nightmare. We had a bunch of owners that didn't want to do any updates on their properties or spend any money. So anytime anything broke, like it would just sit there broke. We had bad reviews and I was up all the time, like 24/7 working and I hated it. So I would say just really simplify as much as you can. especially in terms of location. I think what Patrick Switek is doing and just being in one portion of Southern California is really smart. Literally just taking over one town. That's so much smarter. If you can take over one town, one listing at a time, eventually over your career, you're going to have this massive property management company that's all in one place, right? And you can streamline operations, and you could literally drive from your office to every rental you have in 10 or 15 minutes. That's amazing. For us, it was horrible because we'd have one problem at a listing 2.5 hours away, and that's somebody's whole day. That's one person's whole day. And then you need 5 people like that because it's happening at every corner of the state. That's probably the biggest mistake that I made in my property management company, as well as just taking on bad owners, I would
Mm.
say. Hopefully none of them watch this and think that, oh, that was me. But I know for sure I'm going to get a message later. Yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, that's what I would say. I know a lot of people want to grow co-hosting and property management businesses right now. Almost everybody new says that to me. And I would just say like, I don't know. I guess if that's your goal, fine. I would look at like revenue and profit margins in property management companies, which are really, really slim, typically because you have operational inefficiencies.
Yeah.
I think it's so much better to like, for me, my goal is just keep working my job, make enough money to continue to invest in properties. And I had a client last year that said it to me perfectly. He said, Tyler, I don't want 50 properties. I want 5 properties that do $200,000 a year each. That's $1 million a year gross, and it's $500,000 a year net. And who can't live on $500,000 a year? And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Like, that's the answer to life right there. That's like if you ask the question, like, what are we here for? It's to buy 5 vacation rentals and make $500,000 a year for the rest of your life and live happy, right? And live in the beach in Mexico.
When it's not storming in Syracuse.
Yeah, yeah, or Asheville, yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. No, this has been really good. This has been really good. Now, where can people find you? How can people get into your world? Yeah, chase you down.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. So,
We love to do one-on-one calls with every client that comes into our world. We want to know you. We want to know your story. We love one-on-one relationships with our clients. So we book an individual call with every single person. You're not going to come into a big group. There's no mass funnel. It's nothing like that. It's literally one-on-one time. And so the way to book that first call is www.savvy.realty/agent, and you're going to be able to book a call right there with us. Who you speak with there is going to be able to educate you on different markets as well. We're not only experts in all the markets that we're in, but I can tell you about the market in Hawaii. I can tell you about the market in Arizona. All I do is short-term rentals every day for years now. So I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people, and we know about a lot of other markets. So we also have a network of short-term rental realtors around the country that may not work with Savvy, but we know that they work with a lot of short-term rental clients, and they may be experts in their own area as well. So I think it's always worth it to hop on the phone with our team. I'm the same way as you, wherein I want to hear everybody's opinions and figure out who I resonate with. And then it's okay if there are people out there that I don't resonate with. That's totally okay. There's somebody for everybody. I truly believe that. And we would love to be part of your world. And so let's figure out if that's a win-win situation.
no, I definitely have enjoyed this chat. You definitely brought a lot of gems. I mean, I tell everybody that I always take notes. Okay, the paper is different every time, so it's not a prop. I literally all these conversations that I have, I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna spend all this time bringing all these people, and then everybody else gets the goods, and then I'm sitting. No, we don't do that. No.
Well, hopefully it's these semi-valuable for at least one person out there. That's all I care about. Is if we can get out there and give value to like one person at least. So even if nobody else finds value in this, thank you for saying that it brought value for you.
Oh, it definitely did. It definitely did. Now, thank you so much, Tyler, for coming on, guys. He mentioned his link. It's www.savvy savvy.realty realty and then /agent. So go find him if you want to buy something in any of the markets that he mentioned, or any even other markets, because who knows, he may have found someone new in those markets. So thanks again, Tyler, for coming on.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Likewise.